Hi there, I'm Rex King. Welcome back to another episode of From the Archive. Today we are talking about one of the most influential films of all times. The 1959 Ben-Hur. In the 1950s, all film studios were kind of struggling, mainly due to the rise of TV. More people were staying in the comfort of their home and not really going to the movie theaters. One of the studios that was really struggling was MGM. They were in desperate need of a hit, as they were really hemorrhaging cash at the time. When they saw Paramount have a huge success with the Ten Commandments, they decided that, the best way to fix their problem was to probably do an epic. So they decided to go with Ben-Hur, mostly due to the fact that the studio had done an adaptation of Ben-Hur in the 1920s as a silent movie adaptation. They decided to approach William Wyler, who was an AD on that very same adaptation, and at first Wyler was hesitant, but ultimately agreed because he had really never done an epic at that point in time. Casting the title character was a bit of a challenge for the studio. They went through several different casting decisions. Marlon Brando and Paul Newman apparently were also included in those discussions. Wow. Imagine the alternative universe where those casting decisions happened. Jeez. Ultimately, they decided to go with Charlton Heston, probably due to the fact that, he was the star of Ten Commandments. So it makes sense that he could probably do another epic. The film was given a budget of $15.2 million. At the time, that was the biggest budget that any film had ever been given. MGM had set their Hail Mary. Now, they had to wait to see if it paid off. And on November 18th, 1959, Ben-Hur opened to great reviews. The film was a massive hit. Audiences and critics could not stop raving about this film. The film went on to win a record-breaking 11 Academy Awards, including one for Best Picture. At the time, that was the record, and it held the record for a while until, I believe, Titanic tied it. So, how has Ben-Hur aged? Has it stood the test of time? Well, let's talk about the story. The story of Ben-Hur is based off a book called Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ. It follows Judah Ben-Hur, who is a Jewish prince in Roman-occupied Judea. One day, his best friend, Messala, played by Stephen Boyd, returns from Rome as a Roman tribune in charge of Judea, and basically in charge of gaining control of the Jewish people. Judah is initially overjoyed to be reunited with his friend. However, Messala clearly has alternative motives and intends to use their friendship to find out who are the main voices against the Roman Empire in Judea. However, once Judah realizes that, he refuses to help Messala and refuses to name names. Messala then takes this and says, "You have to choose now. Are you against me or for me?" And ultimately, Judas decides to stand against Messala, enraging him. The next day, during a procession for the new governor, while Ben-Hur and his sister Tirzah, played by Kathy O'Donnell, are watching the procession, a tile beneath where they're standing falls down and hits the new governor. The Roman soldiers immediately burst in and arrest Judah. Judah screams that this is all a misunderstanding and it was a complete accident. He screams and yells at Messala to save him and his family. However, Messala does nothing and watches as his best friend and his family are taken away. Later on, we see that Messala confirms that it was indeed an accident. But instead of helping out his friend, he decides to condemn him. This way he can show his power and get revenge for Judah not helping him. This causes Judah to scream that he will come back and get vengeance. What transpires afterwards is an epic like no other, as Judah goes from a slave on a Roman Navy ship to a hero in Rome to his inevitable return to Judea and his inevitable confrontation with Messala. This film is spectacularly well done. I cannot stress this enough. The pacing is beautiful. This film is 3 hours and 40 minutes long. And I'll be honest, I didn't feel the length at all. I really didn't. I think this film is paced so well that you just get enraptured in the story that you won't even notice how long you're sitting there. And it's just so good. Now, one might say that this film is set piece after set piece after set piece. That's not true. There are a lot of good character moments that make this story what it is. Inevitably, what Ben-Hur actually is about is a man dealing with his faith, trying to hold on to it as he gets put through some tenuous situations. He is always tested and always holds on to his faith, even when he really, it's really like hard to. And I really enjoy movies like this. As I said, this story is based off a book, and if you notice the title of the book, Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ, yes, the Jesus lore is in this film. The opening is literally his birth, but they don't use it to overshow what Ben-Hur is going through. If anything, Jesus is really used as one of the driving forces that really Ben-Hur goes back to. As the scene where the first two they meet for the first time, Judah is chained together with a bunch of other prisoners and is dying of dehydration pretty much, and the guards are refusing to give him water, and he basically collapses, and as he collapses, he begs God to help him, and in response, basically, Jesus gives him water, risking the wrath of the Roman guards, and that one scene is one of the driving forces that helps Judah along in his journey. Another scene that helps him along his journey is the scene early on, before that, with his love interest, Esther, who gives him a slave ring, and they share a romantic moment. And Judah continuously looks at the ring to remind him of his fate and what it means to him. I really enjoy those little moments. Now, a film like this wouldn't work if the characters weren't great, and all the characters are really well written. Especially when it comes to our two leads, Masala and Ben-Hur. I really like how they depict Masala and Ben-Hur here. You can tell that they were really good friends at one point, and that their separation really tears Judah apart, as he really feels sad that his friend has drank the Roman Kool-Aid, as to speak, and he really doesn't like that he has to oppose him, at least in the early onset. When they finally have that final confrontation, you can feel the animosity between the two and how much it has built over time. The performances are all spectacular. Now, this is inevitably where I'm going to have to talk about the depiction of Jesus in this film. Now, they do not show Jesus' face pretty much for the entire runtime. They don't show him at all. They black out his face when he's facing us, and they basically shoot him from behind at all times. I like this. I know a lot of people might not, but I really like this because I don't want to associate an actor's voice or appearance with Jesus. I like the idea with that he's blacked out, that he doesn't matter what he looks like, basically. All that matters is what he represents, and I really enjoy that. That's the way I believe Jesus should be represented in a film like this. And I'm glad that they didn't have an actor's performance overshadow that. Now, back to the other actors, I I know it's pretty evident, but Stephen Boyd is amazing as Masala. He plays him with such villainous dread, and his like facial expressions are wonderful. The way he speaks is like always in command, and I really enjoy that. And when he like dying and towards the end of the film, I like how he still plays him as a man who's just run by rage at this point. And Heston, oh my God, Heston in this movie is just brilliant. He has a lot that he has to do, and he manages to accomplish everything he needs to in this film. And I really enjoyed his performance, and I don't think I had any complaints. Then we have the visuals, and what do I say about these visuals that haven't been said? This film is epic in scale. The matte paintings are beautiful. The battle on the water is intense. The sets are big and epic. The costuming is elegant and amazing. And then we have the chariot race, and what do I say about this scene that hasn't been said 100 times? It's intense, it's amazing, you are on your edge of your seat as you watch these two duke it out, and you watch their two completely different styles, as Judah basically doesn't use a whip, doesn't use force, as Masala uses force in a whip and a spike wheel to cheat. It's really fascinating to watch that scene. I could do an entire video on that scene, but I won't. Then you have the music score. The music score was done by, and I'm probably mispronouncing this name, Miklos Rosa, and was at the time one of the longest scores ever made, and I'm guessing it's probably one of the longest scores still to date. And it's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's intense. It's everything you need in a film epic like this. I have very little complaints about this movie. If I had to really find something to nitpick, okay, the ending is sort of abrupt. But to be honest, that's me stretching it a little bit. I really have little to no problems with this film. I struggled to find anything wrong. When I went into this movie, I was like, okay, this is apparently one of the best films ever made. I challenge it to hold that title. It did. It really did. So, to answer the question I said earlier, has this film stood the test of time? Yes! Now, is this film a buy, stream, which you can do on HBO Max, or an avoid altogether? If you're avoiding this film altogether, I don't know why. This film is great. Now, special feature-wise, it comes with a music-only track and a commentary featuring the a historian and Heston. There is a Ultimate Collector's Edition that apparently has more, and I want to track down that copy. I haven't been able to, so I had to settle for this one. But this one is fine. I really enjoy this film, and I have to say it's a buy, just on the quality alone. If you're looking for more special features, track down the Ultimate Collector's Edition. Or, if you don't want to do that, I guess you can stream it. But I stress, this is a film you should own if you are any type of film collector. Anyway, that's what I felt about Ben-Hur. What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And I need a shorter video next week, because this one's definitely gone a little longer than I usually do. So I'm going to do something a little different in my entire high school sinking into the sea. I'll see you next time.